light of freedom's been extinguished in Poland, but it still burns in the hearts of the Polish people. Tonight, we're lighting a candle for the people of Poland. We're sending its light across the world to shine in their struggle and their suffering, to show them we believe their love of freedom will never die. As part of the International Day of Solidarity with the people of Poland, we send them this message behind their wall of silence. In this time of despair, we hold out this candle of hope. Let Poland be Poland, a program transmitted this evening all across the world. Solidarity. This program itself is a display of solidarity. It's a gathering place for people and ideas from all over the world, collected by satellite, demonstrating that throughout the world, people who love freedom speak in many tongues but one voice. Rallies have been held all over the world in recent weeks. We'll take you to some of them. We'll meet people from many walks of life. Workers, artists, statesmen, religious leaders, all bearing witness as citizens of the world and voicing their fervent hope for an end to the Polish nightmare. Expressing solidarity with the people of Poland, we'll hear from these countries all over the world. The song you're hearing, Let Poland Be Poland, was written recently by a young Pole, Jan Pietrzak. An expression of the Polish people's great yearning for freedom has become the anthem of the Polish workers' movement, Solidarność, solidarity. The story of the Polish people is a great human drama. Poland's given the world many heroic fighters for freedom. In recent weeks, many of them have been forced to flee their country to pursue that fight. Among them is a prominent diplomat, the former Polish ambassador to the United States, Romuald Spasowski. At the time martial law was imposed in Poland, he was his government's senior diplomat, a devoted servant of Poland for 30 years in London, Buenos Aires, New Delhi, and Washington. In the 70s, he served as Poland's deputy foreign minister. Because of his sympathy for the Solidarity movement, Ambassador Spasowski was faced with a wrenching political and personal decision last month. He denounced the current regime in Poland and chose to stay in the West so his voice could be heard. Ambassador Romuald Spasowski.
I am grateful for this opportunity to speak to the people of the world on behalf of my people in Poland. We Poles love freedom, and we have fought for centuries to defend Europe and Christianity against invasions from the east and southeast. We have been partitioned by other nations. For more than 100 years, we were erased from the political map of Europe. We have been crushed by 2 world wars. But our spirit has never been crushed. We have focused hope in our faith in God. In the time of our greatest peril, this hope was affirmed by words of inspiration, such as the ones you will hear on this program. When I was a young man in Warsaw, at the beginning of the Second World War, I built with my own hands a radio to hear the words of the BBC from London. The news broadcasts always began with the opening chords of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. I cannot hear that music today without feeling a chill in my spine. I know how important this program can be.
Poles, the heroism of your people standing up to cruel oppressors shall not be forgotten. Your country shall live again.
World War II began in Poland on September 1st, 1939. We were the first nation to stand up and to fall under the Nazi war machine. Nearly 1/4 of our entire population, more than 6 million people, died in the war, including nearly all of Poland's 3 million Jews. The names of Auschwitz and Treblinka will forever remain in the conscience of the world. Russia joined forces with Germany against us. We rose up in Warsaw in 1944, but our resistance was brutally defeated as the Russians watched. At the end of the war, we fell into the Soviet sphere. We tried to rebuild under Russian domination. We demanded reforms and freedom from oppression. In the 60s, the people worked hard to modernize our nation and our industry. We regained freedom of religion. Our workers took to the streets to demand their rights. Fair wages, more food, better housing, the right to organize unions. In 1980, solidarity was born. The Holy Father gave us inspiration and strength. And Lech Wałęsa became a symbol of our desire for national independence. Then came December 13th, 1981. To our friends throughout the world, we bring this message. A war is now being waged in Poland. It is not a war of tanks or guns or bombs. It is a war of ideas. An idea is stronger than any weapon. We must mobilize the moral force of freedom. In the words of our national anthem, Poland is not yet lost. And to that, may I now add, with all my heart, let Poland be Poland.
On the streets of Philadelphia, USA recently, a solidarity march led by members of the Polish American Congress.
Our last service this afternoon will be offered for peace. We especially offer our prayers for peace in Poland. Poland is a believing country.
At Philadelphia's Cathedral of St. Peter and St. Paul, prayers for the Polish people.
What's happening tonight is historic. Never before has such an array of world leaders gathered together under one electronic umbrella. What they have to say is eloquent and necessary. Let's listen to them. We'll go to London first for a statement from Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher.
Poland has a special place in British history and in British hearts. My generation will never forget that Poland was Britain's ally from first to last in the Second World War. Polish squadrons flew with ours in the Battle of Britain. Polish soldiers fought with ours at Monte Cassino in Italy. Polish sailors died with ours to keep open the Atlantic lifeline from America. Now again, we're inspired by the people of Poland. Their longing and their struggle for freedom have kindled new hope in their country and all over Eastern Europe. More than that, they've reminded us in the West of the precious quality of our own freedom. They, who know what it's like to live without it. Their brave struggle warms our hearts but it sent a chill of fear through those who seek to hold men in tyranny. The age-old lesson of history is that the human spirit will not live in chains. In Poland today, the flame of freedom may seem to burn less brightly, but is not being extinguished, nor can it be. Sooner or later, the oppressors will understand that they can't impose their will upon men and women who ask only that Poland may truly represent the indomitable spirit of the Polish people.
I am a musician, and here in the West I found total freedom. Only those who have lived without freedom can truly value it. What can be a better example of complete freedom than a Russian musician conducting the National Symphony, playing American music at the United States Capitol? Now, I can understand the people of Poland in their striving for liberty. I would like to share with you a beautiful piece we played last year on Independence Day. It expressed my hope that the world will once again see a free Poland.
And now, from the White House in Washington, D.C., President Ronald Reagan.
The gallant people of Poland have a long tradition of faith and freedom that no oppressor, foreign or domestic, has ever been able to destroy. Today, their proud spirit is symbolized by Solidarity, the Polish free trade union movement. As a longtime union member and former union president, I feel a special bond with this courageous labor movement. Solidarity symbolizes the struggle of real workers in a so-called worker state for fundamental human and economic rights. The right to work and reap the fruits of one's labor, the right to assemble, the right to strike, and the right to freedom of expression. The peaceful efforts of Solidarity have been met with brutal repression. A dark night of tyranny has descended on Poland. The target of this repression is the Solidarity movement. But in attacking Solidarity, its enemies attack an entire people, 10 million of Poland's 36 million citizens are members of Solidarity. Taken together with their families, they account for the overwhelming majority of the Polish nation. By persecuting Solidarity, the Polish military government wages war against its own people. America has already acted firmly and deliberately on behalf of Polish freedom. We have announced sanctions against the Polish military government and the Soviet government that backs its suppression. If the events in Poland continue to deteriorate, we will take further steps. There's a spirit of solidarity abroad in the world today that no physical force can crush. It crosses national boundaries and enters into the hearts of men and women everywhere. In factories, farms, and schools, in cities and towns around the globe, we, the people of the free world, stand as one with our Polish brothers and sisters. Their cause is ours. We call for an end to repression and a return of basic internationally guaranteed human rights in Poland. In meetings, demonstrations, and rallies around the world, and in our hearts and prayers, we are resolved, in the words of a beloved Polish song, to let Poland be Poland.
Now we go to the steps of the Sydney Opera House in Australia. Children of Solidarity. The song, Let Poland Be Poland. In Melbourne, a demonstration by local citizens.
This program is being telecast by satellite throughout the world. As many as 300 million people are watching at this very moment. We're reaching another 100 million people by radio. The Voice of America is broadcasting these words in 39 languages, including Polish. But we don't know if they can hear us in Poland because of something called jamming. Jamming is a very simple but very powerful form of repression. Interfering signals are sent over the air to prevent people from hearing a radio or television program. The Nazis used it during World War II, and the Soviet Union has been jamming Voice of America and Radio Free Europe broadcasts since 1948. That's a direct violation of international law. Last December the 28th, they resumed jamming on broadcast to Poland. My own voice has been jammed many times. This is how it sounds. To the people of Poland, we send these words, let Poland be Poland.
My parents were immigrants. They came to America looking for freedom. I'm here tonight because they found it. As a filmmaker, I've learned that artistic freedom everywhere goes hand in hand with political freedom. About 10 years ago, I went to Poland to visit the students at the National Film School in Łódź. I have wonderful memories of that visit. They were dressed as cowboys, shooting off blank guns, yelling, Witamy, Witamy, welcome.
100 years, 100 years, Sola, 100 years.
All around me, young faces full of vitality. Actors, musicians, writers, directors, all aspiring to be free. They seem so hopeful, so happy. An actor knows the difference between reality and make-believe. Those happy moments we shared were real. The fighting was make-believe. Now the happy moments in Poland seem like a fantasy, but the fighting is real. Yes, they were beautiful. A lot of these girls must be married now, with families, children of their own. I wonder what's happening to my friends in Poland now. Yes, Bratski do nas. I'll come back. Soon, I hope. When Poland becomes Poland again.
The Central Labor Committee of New York held a rally a few hours ago in New York City. One of the speakers was the civil rights leader, Bayard Rustin.
Has held a special meeting on January 11, 1982, following the recent developments in Poland. On this occasion, all countries voiced the frustration they felt over the adverse turn of events in that country. Turkey has traditionally nurtured great sympathy and friendship for the Polish people. It has always been dismayed by the misfortunes that Poland suffered in its history. We had hoped that the Polish people would be able to progress on the path of renewal and reform, which had started in the summer of 1980 without any foreign interference. In this respect, we firmly uphold the principles enshrined in the Helsinki Final Act. All countries concerned should act in a way which would make it possible for the Polish people to solve their problems themselves and to ensure national reconciliation, progress, and stability.
I'm not a politician, I'm a singer. But when I see people being forced from their homeland to seek freedom somewhere else, it makes me realize all over again how grateful I am for the freedom that I have, and how terrible I would feel if I had to leave the country I love. When the troubles began in Poland this winter, I remembered a song I recorded some time ago. It's based on a Polish folk song. I sang it in both English and in Polish. If I were a politician, I'd probably make a speech right now, but since I'm not, here's the song, and it's called Ever Homeward, or in Polish it's called Wolne Serce.
Ever homeward, yearns the weary rover. Ever homeward, till the journey's over. Warm embraces, friendly faces, saying welcome home. Let me lie there neath the sky there, never more to roam. Ever homeward, yearns the weary rover. Ever homeward, now the journey's over. Wolne serce, lekko dusza, mam gdzieś mój blisko. Jak gdzieś płynął rok poblisko, jest już me ognisko. Choć już obce, co tam mnie serce do was płynie. Tu jest dom mój, o nim śniłem, zawsze tam so dali. Ever homeward, yearns the weary rover. Ever homeward, now the journey's over.
ever homeward. Poland's greatest son, Pope John Paul II, returned to his homeland in June 1979, bringing his blessings to his people and letting the world know that the vast Roman Catholic Church stood behind the aspirations of the Polish people. It was a great moment in Polish history. The Pope spread his epiphany to an emotionally overwhelmed and proud nation. When the dark night of martial law descended last December, the deeply concerned Pope sent this message back home. Cautiously worded, it said, "The Church has received with grief the news of the breaking off of the dialogue." He implored both sides to seek a conclusion, but the crackdown worsened. On Christmas Eve, a despairing Pope addressed an audience. The situation in his homeland seemed to be beyond even his help.
Nel nome della libertà e si scrivono.
Then, just last Sunday, the Pope again raised his voice, bringing the spiritual resources of the Roman Catholic Church to bear against the Polish repression.
Nello spirito della lettera pastorale
In the
dell'Episcopato.
name of liberty, he said, we believe firmly that the right to organize and autonomous, self-governed unions must be restored to workers. And to young people, the right to organize in associations of their choice, and all in the name of the peace that is so greatly desired by the whole nation. What His Holiness didn't say, if we might presume to guess what is in his heart. Let Poland be free. Let Poland be Poland. Paris, France, a statement from President François Mitterrand.
C'est une bonne initiative.
It is a good initiative. The Polish people need to know that their struggle for greater freedom is joined by the unity and solidarity of millions and millions of people throughout the entire world. They need to know that the political and moral pressure of international public opinion will not cease until they have regained the use of the labor union rights wrested by the workers and the farmers these past few years, until they have, quite simply, recovered their just claim to the rights of man, and until those unjustly thrust into prison and camps have been released. The Polish people suffer as well from destitution and hunger. That is why France is supplying them with food aid more than any other Western country. Finally, the Polish people know that they still are suffering the consequences of the Second World War, and that they will be free from them only on the day when both the division of Europe into two blocks and the system which crushes them have disappeared. Their amazing courage in adversity shows that evolution, even if it takes some time, has begun even now.
Même s'il y faut du temps, a dès maintenant commencé.
Workers marched to the Polish embassies in London and Brussels today in conjunction with the International Day of Solidarity.
Talking about down with the results.
In Washington, D.C., a mass was held today at St. Matthew's Cathedral. The crowd marched to Lafayette Park, then to the AFL-CIO building, where they heard from the United States Ambassador to the United Nations, Jean Kirkpatrick, and Senator Henry Jackson from the state of Washington.
We reject the Soviet contention that the reign of terror imposed upon the Polish people is a purely internal affair best left to the Polish government.
In Ottawa and Toronto today, Canadians were united for solidarity. They lit candles outside the Polish embassy in Ottawa to commemorate the dead Polish coal miner. A labor rally was held in Toronto outside the City Hall with the president of the Ontario Federation of Labor.
They have the right to negotiate wages, salaries, and benefits, and they should have the right to negotiate better working conditions.
Chicago, Illinois, USA, a city with the second largest Polish population in the world, turned out for Solidarity Day with Secretary of State Alexander Haig, Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Charles Percy, and AFL-CIO President Lane Kirkland, among those demonstrating their support for the Polish people.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Alexander Haig.
The Polish government and its ally, the Soviet Union, have been unable to produce either bread or freedom. Instead, they have been more adept at producing falsehoods. The United States has made clear that we will not do business as usual with either Poland or the Soviet Union while repression continues in Poland. Jeszcze Polska nie zginęła.
All over the world, since the earliest and dimmest daybreak of civilization, eloquent and courageous voices have been raised in the cause of freedom. The English poet John Donne wrote this: "No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if a promontory were, as well as if a manor of thy friends or of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee." Long live liberty. Let Poland be Poland.
Now we turn to Brussels, Belgium, and Prime Minister Wilfried Martens.
While meditating today
it is not only of the Polish people that we are thinking, but also of what they symbolize for us. A quiet but unbreakable courage, a vigorous determination in the defense of the dignity of man, the strength also of a conviction which does not flinch in the face of the blind outrages of history. Our solidarity toward these people so close to us in many respects is that of the fraternity of men of liberty faced with the cold calculations of the heartless state. Poland recalls to us the value and also the fragility of what we have to represent and defend. It recalls to us also that we have an obligation over and above the vagaries of everyday life to hold out the hand of brotherly sympathy and of hope to these people victimized by an unjust oppression.
Thank you, Prime Minister Martens. We go to Bonn now, where we'll hear from Chancellor Helmut Schmidt of the Federal Republic of Germany.
We Germans stand wholeheartedly on the side of the Polish workers in their struggle for human dignity, justice, and democracy. After a long span of history full of suffering, Germans and Poles have since years come together again. Like the reconciliation between Germany and France, this is part of the great moral changes that have occurred in Europe after the Second World War. And from this stems the spontaneous readiness for practical help shown by my countrymen. In the final months of 1981, fellow citizens sent over 2 million parcels to Poland worth 100 million Deutschmarks, and this aid will go on. We shall never forget that what the human bonds between Poles and Germans mean to my people and to Europe as a whole, hence our present solidarity with the Polish people. Together with our friends in Europe and in America, we demand of the Polish rulers, lift martial law, release the detainees, and return to the national dialogue with the church and with the elected leaders of the Solidarność trade union. The suppression of freedom in Poland is a grave moral challenge to all those in the world who stand for humanity and freedom. It's a danger to peaceful relations among people and nations. Therefore, our appeal and measures required to lend weight to it are also and above all addressed to the Soviet Union, which bears great responsibility for the tragedy. The Polish people must itself find its path into the future.
Tonight we've heard from many world leaders on the subject of Poland. I'd like to read the words of one prominent political thinker who couldn't be with us on this program. The restoration of an independent, strong Poland is a matter which concerns not only the Poles, but all of us. A sincere collaboration of the European nations is possible only if each of these nations is fully autonomous in its own house. This independence can be gained only by the young Polish proletariat, and in its hands it is secure. For the workers of all the rest of Europe need the independence of Poland just as much as the Polish workers themselves. These words were written in London in 1892 by Friedrich Engels in his preface to the Polish edition of the Communist Manifesto.
Tonight, we have taken you to many places around the world where people have expressed their solidarity with solidarity. We weren't able to take you to all of the rallies. As I am talking now, the rallies continue. This program is coming to an end, but the concern of the world for the people of Poland will continue. At the beginning of this program, we heard the aria choir under the direction of Jerzy Gabian singing the Polish solidarity anthem, Żeby Polska była Polską. These are what the words mean in English. Our family tree reaches back through the depths of time to fabled kings and heroes, to ancient forests, fields, and steppes. A long chain of human beings united by a simple thought: let Poland be Poland. Let Poland be Poland.
Tonight, people everywhere who love freedom form a long chain of human beings, united by that simple thought: let Poland be Poland.